This is the Lockpicking Lawyer, and what I have for you today is an EVVA model GPI cam lock. This lock is notable for a particularly difficult keyway. You can see how the bits of warding from either side come together to form a paracentric zigzag pattern, and you can probably appreciate that pattern just a little bit better if you look at the key to this lock. And looking at that zigzag, one can imagine how it would be relatively difficult to even insert a pick into this lock, but then once it's in, to lift the pins up, particularly if there are any high cuts in the bitting, and here we certainly have a couple of them. I recently showed this lock in video number 480, which was my top 10 nastiest keyways. And in that video, I noted that I have never been able to pick this particular lock open. And it wasn't because I gave it a great deal of effort and failed. It was because I looked at that keyway and looked at the bitting for the key and decided that it probably wasn't possible, at least not without making some custom tools. But while I had the lock out, I decided to give it a shot to see if I could open it up. And I was stunned to find that I opened it up very, very quickly. And it wasn't because I'm particularly good at picking or navigating paracentric keyways. It was because whomever set this lock up introduced a relatively significant security flaw. And I have not had this lock open yet, but I'd imagine once we get it open, we are going to find some extensive master keying, because I know how far I lifted those pins when I did try to open this up, and I can tell you that I didn't lift any of them to particularly the heights we see on these higher cut pins. So what we're going to do is pick this guy open, and then I'll take it apart, and we will see what's inside that allowed us to get into this lock so quickly. So I'd imagine the object lesson from this video is not going to be anything about picking or about dealing with paracentric keyways. It's going to be about how master keying can take a relatively secure lock and compromise that pick resistance. Okay, so let's use top of the keyway tension with one of my tension wrenches out of the Peterson Flat 5, and then I'm going to use this Sparrow's short hook from the SS Dev set. To even insert this pick into the keyway, I'm going to have to insert it sideways and then twist it around until it's upright once I'm under a pin, and then try to lift it up from there. Okay, 1 is loose. 2 is loose. Might have just gotten a little click out of 3. 4 is loose. Nothing on 5. Back to the beginning. 1 is loose. 2 is binding. Got a click out of him. Nothing on 3. Might have gotten a tiny little click out of 4. And 5. I lifted him up, but I think I might have overset him. He let off a little tension, and we'll start back at the beginning. Okay, 1 is binding tightly now, lifting him up, and we just opened the lock up. So, relatively quick pick, certainly faster than it should have been, given that nasty, nasty keyway. So, let's open this lock up, take it apart, and see what's inside. I already took a few pieces off the back of this cam lock just so I'd be able to fit it into the vise. And let's lock this guy back up. If we look at the back of this, we can see that it has a really snug little spring clip in there. I'm not entirely sure how we're going to take this off, but I think maybe with a screwdriver, hopefully I won't draw blood on myself. There we go. I have no clue how I'm going to get that back on. Now let's get the key and a follower, and hopefully this will come apart. Okay, we got the core out. Be careful not to... I didn't see any master wafers so far. Maybe they're all up in the Bible. Okay, I'm seeing all standard pins so far here. Let's flip them around, and then once we get them organized, I'll pull the driver pins out. Okay, let's see what we've got in slot number 1. Okay, no master key in there, just one standard pin. Again, no master keying on number 2. Okay, we definitely have some master keying in slot 3. And we have some master keying in slot 4 as well. And master keying in slot 5 as well. Okay, so as suspected, the reason we were able to get into this lock so quickly is because there was some relatively significant master keying here. I'm going to do something just to show you the effect that this master keying has. I'm going to put these key pins back in. And then I'm going to start inserting the driver pins and master wafers. Okay, on number 3, we barely had to touch that before it set. Same on number 4, just lift that up just a little bit. Actually, on number 4, we might not have had to have lifted that at all. Then on number 5, barely had to lift that at all. So this was the effective bitting. Really the only pins that we had to spend significant time working on were numbers 1 and 2, because the master wafers made it such that we barely had to touch these back 3 pins. So let me take all this back out again, then I'll give you a close-up of the pins. Okay, let's get this all organized. Okay, as you can see, we have all standard key pins, all standard driver pins as well, but the real show here is that master keying. Unfortunately, what that did is took a lock with a really effective pick defense, and that is the zigzag pattern keyway, and made it such that it was very easy to open. Back to the core, I don't see anything particularly unusual about it. It's obviously a very well-used lock. But again, the real show on this lock is that nasty keyway. And I think we were only able to get through this because of the flaws in whomever set this lock up. So that's all I have for you on this EVVA model GPI cam lock. If you have any questions or comments about it, please put them below. If you like this video and would like to see more like it, please subscribe. And as always, have a nice day. Thank you.